Hey guys, Kit here from I forgot our channel name. Oh, Burn One.
Burn one. Wow.
Strong.
Dude, this past weekend is too much for me. There was too many kits, and I got confused.
Oh man.
So yeah, Kit from Burn One. We're doing another Weiss Schwarz Meta Talk. I'm joined as usual with Dean and Nico. You guys want to say hi?
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
You, and then we have the special guest. What is it? Carmen, winner of English North American JP National Tournament, going to represent America in Japan. Want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. So that's me. I'm Carmen. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You might know me on our YouTube channel, PDH Weiss Schwarz. So, yeah, I won that, I guess.
Oh wait, are you turning into a robot here? Is this server actually screwing up right now as we start this video?
Oh no, what's going on?
Oh, it's happening.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'll switch to servers. All right, hello?
Yeah.
All
right.
Everything went robot there for a second.
Okay,
This is
yeah.
this is a good recording. Do we need to start over?
I was like, at least we just
Yeah, we
started.
might want to start over anyway.
Nah, it's too late. We're already a minute and 20 seconds in. Just reintroduce yourself, Carmen.
All right, so I'm Carmen. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You might know me from our YouTube channel, PGH Weiss Schwarz. And yeah, I won nationals for JP somehow. So yeah, I'm here.
Somehow, it was all that hard work. Very good deck choice. You're like, of all the decks I own, this is the one I want. This can fight the out of the best.
It was a very hard choice to play Summer Pockets, but you know, ride or die.
Okay. So we're going to get into Carmen's deck choices and stuff like that. But I have to ask one question before we start. It's very important. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to go see Sonic when it comes out, the movie?
So, I do like the redesign. It's like a little too Archie comics for me, but like I think that's fine. I think I'll give it a chance, right? Like I think it's wild that they actually listened to what people said about it and changed it.
All
Like
right.
a multi-billion-dollar project.
Now, the real question following this is, when you go see it, are you going to do it the same way Nico and I are doing it, which is we're just going to try to be as drunk as possible before getting into the theater?
I'm trying to get kicked out of the theater. That's my goal.
I once got kicked out of Twilight movie midnight release, so for the same reason. So yeah, that sounds good.
Respectable. Okay. Now that we got the hard-hitting questions out of the way, we'll get into the easy ones here. So, yeah, I mean, I guess, heading into Nats, I mean, this was the first time you guys really, like, your group, like you told us earlier, only plays English, right?
Yeah, so the Pittsburgh scene is exclusively English, which is really weird, right? Like, so when I started out playing Weiss, which was about, like, I started playing BCS Shop Challenge season last year. So 2018, like, BCS Shop Challenge season is around when I started playing Weiss. When I came into the scene, everybody's like, oh, so, like, we only play with English cards here, like, not Japanese, like, not at all. And I was like, okay. So, like, that makes sense to me, right? It's like you want to be able to read your cards. And then, like, as I got more entrenched in the scene, I realized just, like, we're a rarity. Like, we're an island out in Pittsburgh. No one plays only English. Like, they might be English focused, but no one only plays English. Like, not mixed, just English. So, yeah, it's definitely an interesting environment. But, yeah, we took a chance on Columbus because it's so close to us. It's like a 2.5-hour drive. So we went out there and tried our hand. I think that all the people that went, that we only have like one JP deck to our name, and I have Summer Pockets. So that's what I took.
And you got like third or fourth there, right?
Third, yeah. So
Ooh,
I lost
squeezed
to
right in.
Goblin Slayer. Goblin Slayer is rough at 0 for Summer Pockets. That's like real rough. Because the chaser with any like power just turns off Umi. And they have to like misplay by like playing an additional card for you to put Umi in front of. This is the only way for you to like counter it is for them to misplay into you. So
Just
like kind of feels bad.
Yep. Please let me run into a bad Goblin Slayer player, please.
In the
Yeah,
In the finals.
yeah.
Oh
If they
man.
play literally anything else and let Umi live, then yeah, that's fine. But a single chaser with a power pump is like, oh well, can't do anything anymore. So kind of
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, so it's pretty interesting that like your group is so like only English, your scene is only English, and then you guys took this chance running out to Ohio here, trying to qualify for JP Nats, and you squeeze in there, you're able to make it, which is really cool. Um, Going into Nats, I mean, I think kind of spoiled it as well, saying you only have one deck. So that hard decision of coming up with Summer Pockets.
So yeah, so I picked Summer Pockets as like because we had a thing where it's like, okay, we should like all pick a JP set to play. So do you guys know the like Board Saviors blog?
Yeah.
Like Gordon's blog.
Yeah.
So the Summer Pockets article, I was reading that one day and I was like, wow, this deck sounds sick. Like this set sounds awesome, and I just like totally bought into it, and that's why I play Summer Pockets, because that article. So shout out to them, I guess. It was that article that got me to play this set. So,
Oh, man.
but yeah, like going into Nats with Summer Pockets, I was definitely really worried. Like the fact that I made top 3, I was like, oh, Goblin Slayer's so popular, like I feel like I'm gonna have trouble with that unless I'm super lucky and trigger Wind, and then even then they just like play Priestess again. Feels like really bad for me. But like when I was at Nats, like eventually that wasn't a problem. I was also really afraid of 8-bar too. I think the only change to my deck list that I made going into Nats was I put in 2 Icy Tail from the trial deck because I was so afraid of 8-bar Fate.
8-bar Fate, yeah.
Nats, yeah, like the over compression strategies, because like it was like doing double duty, right? Because it's really good against that deck specifically, because it's kind of like the only way you can deal damage. If you're running like the Restander Eye, because it's like an on attack burn, but also is good against like all the general like heavy compression strategies that you kind of see in JP.
Yeah, for sure. I see. Then you clearly didn't get screwed over as I did against me, right? Where they milled 8 clean on the bottom of their deck when they were like 8 and 24 or something. I'm like,
I didn't say Icy Tail hit. I didn't say Icy Tail hit. I whiffed more Icy Tails at Nats and Umi like popbacks than I ever have playing this deck. Like I only failed to open Umi like I think 2 games on the whole day, and she never popped back to hand on first turn, or like maybe once. Like
Oh yeah, coin flip.
yeah, coin flips. Yeah, so like my coin flips didn't hit like all day. It was real bad. My Icy Tails were also whiffing all day, but the card still like it worked when it counted, especially in finals. So
Yep,
I think that was right. That was
so.
the right choice. That like as the only change I made, I think it was right to like kind of expect these like 8-bar Fates. Just like that's a wild deck. That's a scary deck to sit against.
Yeah, it's one of those decks like if you can't kill them from 3-0, you're just like, oh, this is the worst crap ever. It doesn't matter how much damage I deal this turn, because next turn they're going to be 3-0 anyway. Yeah, that 3-3 a heal event is just insane sometimes. In combination with
rough.
like the Force Side, not Rider, Assassin.
It's
Yeah,
Rider.
Oh, it's Rider? Why do I always mix them up?
it's Rider.
Yeah,
Rider, yeah.
yeah.
It's because of the way she's drawn. Looks like that, right?
Yeah.
I think the only other thing about the deck is before I even went to the Columbus event, I was really between like trying to squeeze that 1/1, the Silica on guard clone, into the list, because I think that profile is just generally very good to stand by out or get out early, because you have the eye to support it, right?
Yeah.
But I changed instead to the twin drive, the top check twin drive Shiroha, the one where she's eating the crepe. That card's busted. So like that and the Kamome that's like pay 2, like tutors a climax if you have a copy in your waiting room. Like making the change to that package, I think those cards are crazy. And if like you didn't need the Azusa to like sort of get you out of bad deck states, which is like important for any deck to like win a long tournament. So it's like what 10 rounds at Nats.
Yeah.
I really relied on that for like bad decks, like racing through bad decks after canceling early, stuff like that. I would definitely run like 4 of that Twin Drive and like 2 of that Climax Tutor, but like you really need the Ozzos to get through your deck, I think.
Yeah,
But
sure.
yeah, that's about it for my deck choices, I think.
No,
And
yeah,
the rest of it is pretty standard.
yeah, the Twin Drive in that set is really good. It also has the top check too, right, to decide your trigger as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
really
basically it reads like basically on-demand trigger win, which is like really strong when everyone is playing like crazy
Standby and stuff like that. Yeah. Cool. Then I guess do you want to do a quick rundown of your rounds? Maybe not get into too much detail so we can not have like an hour-long video. But,
Yeah.
Anything like
So,
that
like-
stands out or anything like that, you can go ahead and talk about it.
So I have some notes here. So like round 1, I could just run through what I played round by round. So like round 1, I played like Fujimi. It was like a mono data live build. My big play from this game was getting my opponent to respect the 1/1 Silica that I don't run in my deck by reading my card's effect.
You told me about this. That was
Yeah.
really strong.
My opponent not asking to see my waiting room and not asking for the number of cards in hand. So I plus that turn. That was cool. Other than that, it was fairly normal. I went into my second round. I played against like Sal Link Strike, which was like that was kind of cool. I like knew what all the cards did, and it was my round 7 from Toronto, so that was cool. I like played against someone who I'd already played against. That was weird. It was running like a 1/1 Yui, but it was like
Was
I
it the
remember
Climax combo?
I don't know if she was running the Climax combo, actually. It was just like the 1/1/7/5 hit the board. She never played it.
She did run the Climax combo. I played against her.
Oh, the
Okay.
Slot Soul.
She
Yeah.
ran, I think, like 2 copies of it or something.
Yeah, I remember it being a weird build. I don't know what like the meta call is on that, if that's like a normal thing for like people to splash and sow or what, but
There are some people that like to circle that deck around.
like the only notable part of the game was like she was on second deck and I was like tracking obviously like all the climaxes coming out of the deck. And I was like very convinced by like the way she was playing that there was 1 climax in the bottom 4 cards of her deck. She was at 3/3. I proceed to icy tail her and it's 4 clean cards. And I was like, damn, I lost. That's it. But Twin Drive is really good at getting exact lethal with that top check. So we got there.
Nice.
And when I say Twin Drive, I mean that Crepes card, like whether I use the Twin Drive or not, but that card, the top check effect, really good for like getting exact triggers, or like triggering wins, stuff like that. But other than that, that was a fairly normal game. I think round 3, I got into like the game where that really spooky judge call against Konosuba Magic. Thankfully, even the JP version of the deck, so like Pittsburgh is 80% Konosuba Magic. Like you roll into locals and it's everyone's playing Konosuba. Yeah, right? Everyone's playing Konosuba and all the people that aren't playing Konosuba whip out AOT to play against Konosuba. So like that's your average Pittsburgh local. Like
Wow.
week, right?
That sounds
People
like
still
so
show up
much
to their
fun.
locals?
Yeah. So yes, for some reason people keep showing up. But yeah, so I'm very comfortable against that list. I think Summer Pockets does very well against Konosuba until you hit their endgame combo turn, because you have to leave bodies. It's like very scary. Like you kind of have to leave targets unless you're going to do something really cheeky, like you move Umi up and you hit the coin flip. So yeah, the judge call happened. It was completely my fault. So like in the moment, I thought that like we had both missed the check timing, but like basically like what happened was Al swung over refresh. So that's the card that restands that 3/2 that can give like herself or another character a soul. She swung over refresh and I was like looking at my grave and didn't see my opponent like take refresh point. And for some reason I just moved to my next attack. And like when I realized that, I like reflexively like paid 2 and like stood the eye, and my opponent was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know. Let's just call judge." It was really bad. We rewound it, like definitely some like a little bit of nerves, because like I kind of expected to like show up and kind of like 0-2 drop, like wasn't expecting to like do very well, and especially in like a matchup that I was very familiar with Konosuba, like felt really bad to misplay that hard. to the point where like my opponent, and rightfully so, my opponent was right to judge call me 100%. Because it was a May effect, that was the other part of it. I mistakenly thought that the owl restand was mandatory for some reason. Something about the effect when I had read it the first time stuck with me. It is not mandatory. Because it was a May effect, that effect fizzled and the judge called and we re-round. I was really compressed going into that turn though, so I was able to cancel and like kind of crack back and win. But like it felt really bad to win like that. But you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, so you just mean it was
Definitely
extended
learned
BM?
my lesson. Yeah. Basically, extended BM. Yeah, that's how it played out. So yeah, going into round 4, I'm 3-0 at this point. I play against the thing I was most afraid of, so Fate 8 bar for the first time. I was really unsure of exactly how Summer Pockets is supposed to deal with their board if they even get halfway set up, right? Outside of like burning with Icy Tail, triggering Wind, or like maybe you do a single side with the I-3-2, because I think if it restands, the negative soul like sticks into your next restand.
Yes.
So yeah, so like you can only like side once with that. The game itself though was like pretty decent. Like we both canceled a lot. We almost hit time at the end. His last deck he refreshed and he was really compressed. So I like threw out 2 Icy Tails. I was at like 3-0. Like went down my like whole hand to Icy Tail him twice. Like stuck a good bit of damage. He healed 2 off with Riders, and then like I went into my last turn and Icy Tailed again. I did nothing but like clock draw, brainstorm to get enough cards to like Icy Tail again. That was basically game. That's what won me game, was the Icy Tail. So it was cool to see the like one big change I made to the deck pay off for the one thing I was afraid of. But like the early game was definitely pretty lucky by me. Like I had a very good opener, but so did he. So like we were kind of like going back and forth. Risky play to like invest all that hand and like Icy Tailing, double Icy Tailing, but it did win me the game. So kind of felt good to win off that. I guess moving on, so like round 5. So this was like a really good player. He was on the new like Sunshine 8 standby. He might have been with Strictly's crew. He was like talking with Peng before that. I might be wrong about that. He was a really good player. Unfortunately for him, I high rolled him like crazy. I like opened Umi, Win, Shirahas, like everything. I like sack canceled on like first deck like super hard. He tried to like lock me at 0-5, and I like fielded double Umi and like triggered Wind on the last attack that bounces level 2 standby target. It was like really bad for him, but once he got the second deck, he like canceled a lot, normalized. We like grinded it out. We were like 17 seconds from time from that game, and that was when Icy Tail started to fail me. So that Icy Tail whiffed like twice that game. It was real bad.
Oh,
Yeah, real bad. But I guess like my last game in Swiss was against Overlord, so I lost this game. This is where my luck like finally ran out. I opened 5 unplayables, ditched 5, drew more unplayables, drew clocked, and I hit a single Brainstormer. And of course the Surveil was an Umi, right? Like one more card and I would have had Umi. That's always how it goes. I was able to like kind of struggle bus, and like I got back into it. I resolved like 1 Shiraha, I think, and he like plays the 2-1. He stands by out this like Mare or Ara. I can't remember this. This 3-2. I don't know what Overlord plays specifically. This is my first time playing against the deck. And he doesn't attack with it first, after I had like very loudly and specifically, this is something I did all day, is like very loudly and obviously salvage the sack counter to threaten it. Which is something I think is like very powerful, to just like get your opponent to like play poorly. And he saw me take it. He knew I had it, and he attacked in one of his side lanes first, and I like instantly sack countered it, and I still lost.
oh my god.
I just couldn't come back. He was like so far ahead. I was like a whole level behind all game. It felt kind of bad, and like he was undefeated. He was the 6-0 going into top cut. So yeah, it felt kind of bad to lose after hitting him with that. But you know, it is what it is. it's Weiss. You can't sack all day, but you know, that was how it was.
Yeah.
So going into top 16, I'm just gonna apologize up front because like everything up until finals, this is like kind of a blur for me. I'm like kind of freaking out. I didn't expect to do this well. I'm like trying to stay in the moment, like play reactively. Again, like I don't play a lot of JP format. I follow the format, so I know like some of the stuff. But of course, so like the deck that I sit down and play against is JP Card Captor Sakura, and like it's really bad because I've played against a lot of English Card Captor Sakura. So like I see art that I've seen before and it's different, like, or I see parts like as I've watched the show a lot, I'd be like, oh, maybe that card's this. It's like, no, it's not. Really bad. But like Union off standby is really stupid. I thought Kaide was good. Like that deck feels so bad.
Hell yeah, brother! I've been telling everyone forever, dude. Standby plus combo is too good. And then they print this Union that's like 6/5 on defense. Like what?
Yeah,
this is some
wild.
bullshit.
But like, so our 0 was really normal. And then I was like, oh, I got these 2 Umis in hand. I got the win. I'm good to go. We're gonna be fine. The Umis don't pop, and I give up 2 reverses to Union. And I was like, oh god, this is gonna get real bad real fast. I basically scrambled to like salvage and replay the the top check twin drive Shiroha as much as I could to like just sack as many wins as possible. Like constantly trying to keep track of the amount of wins that I had in my deck, like whether on the end of my first deck or on my second deck, to just sort of maximize the amount that I could. And like I did trigger a couple, which kept me back in the game. He played his like endgame combo and he overburned me, which lost him the game. He like ditched an event because it's like the cost me bullet burn, right? It like burns for the number of events. He ditched a 3rd event. If he would have burned me for like 2-2, he would have won the game. But he burned me for 3 twice. I canceled both. I ate the attacks, but I lived, and I was able to like crack back with the standard like Al I restand combo and seal the game there because he had bodies on board for me to like use to like modulate my soul with the eye to like side for exact lethal at endgame.
Nice.
Which I think is like the big thing with Summer Pockets that I was able to use all day. It's like sort of the standard. It's like you have a lot of soul modulation to your endgame since you play standby and you have eye on board. But yeah, he kind of like punted by overburning me. I was at 3-0, so like he didn't have to like push that hard. So a little weird. Get into my top 8 game, and I've never been more happy to see Konosuba in my life. I sit down. I sit down against Konosuba Magic Cards. Oh my god, I know what all your cards do. I even know what the JP cards do. I'm good to go. But unfortunately for him, he opened like really bad. It was like really normal otherwise. Like I resolved like double Shiroha. I was like locking out his unions and the other supplementary combo. He like really couldn't plus. He refreshed pretty good though. And then he decided to double union, ambush union, and also crash a nuisance and proceed to be out 5 on his second deck. Yeah, with like a lot of cards. I like looked at the size of his deck, realized there was only at most 3 in there, and I said, okay, drop search the Kamome, tutor another wind, and we're gonna combo you again. And he was like, oh, I lose this game. And I was like, yeah. That was it. Like he just really couldn't come back at that point. I felt kind of bad, but it's like, you know, you can't beat on your deck like that. I was surprised he went that hard. I don't know what his hand state, like his hand looked like, but I don't know. I would have not beat on my deck like that at that point in the game. But you know, you don't really know what's going on in the other player's hand, so you can't really say those things, I guess. Going into top 4, I played against Rewrite. I got some redemption here for Kit, I guess.
Thank you.
It was
so some bullshit, man.
I've never played against this set before either, and he was definitely very not happy when I said that. I was like, okay, so I like he puts down his first card, and I was like, okay, I've never played against rewrite before. You're gonna have to say your card's effects. He like gave me this like terrible side eye. I was like, dude, I'm so sorry. Like, I kind of did my thing that I've been doing all day against sets that I don't play. Is like play very reactively. Just try to like answer what I saw on the board. Like really like watch for like counters and stuff. I knew what gloves did because like I like have been playing Weiss for a certain amount of time. I know that gloves exist. And I like looked down at my stock later after level 1, and he like has like 14 stock. I was like, what's going on here? Like doing rewrite things. He played this like clean cut. It was like a level 1. He like left me 2 Shiro reverses, and he seemed like really upset about that play. Like he intended to do something else. Like maybe the climax he intended to trade with something, and the climax put him over. But I like got 2 Shirohas off. I was sitting pretty good. He like got his early plays off, the back row and the like front row one, and I like winded them both with twin drive. So I kind of sacked him back, and that kind of sealed the game. Like forcing him to replay them really closed that stock overhead, and he couldn't like make aggressive plays at the end game because I'd like set him to 3-5 with an icy tail, and he like clocked to get literally anything to play, and he had nothing. And I proceeded to like triple cancel off the top of my new deck and kill him. So yeah, that was that game. And yeah, after that I was in finals. So finals I played against the thing that I was afraid of the most, Fate 8 Bar with a really good player. So this was Thomas from the Strictly crew, right? Yeah, I'm really bad.
Wait, is he actually sponsored by Strictly Broken?
I don't think he's sponsored. He came out with that whole crew, though.
Yeah, he's a really good player.
I was going to say, he's a really amazing player. So, like, this is kind of like an asshole thing of me to say, but I think we had a really good game. There were a lot of, like, really good, like, edge case plays going on, which I think is, like, the most fun, like, Weiss, when, like, people are making, like, really good plays on, like, those weird, like, edge cases that come up in the game. And I think that's where the game's the most fun. We both opened up pretty well. I had some Umis that actually popped back, and like he set his clock on core, and we had like a really good back and forth. Shiraha, like unfortunately for him, like kind of like shits on that whole like 1-0 cost bomb strategy, where like they play those early to like kind of like keep up.
Yeah.
But obviously, like Shiraha's a 2-1 doesn't work. And, like, there was one play that I think, like, really decided the game. So, like, I saw him take the Rin anti-change counter off the Ilya Azusa. And that was, like, right before I comboed off at 1. And I put down 2 Shirahas and a twin drive. I ran a Shiraha in first, because he only had 4 cards in hand. I was like, okay, if he anti-change counters me, he's going to go down to 1 card. He has the clock on core, but there are 3 standbys left in my deck, and my deck's pretty small. So, like, if I can rip standby off this twin drive, like, I'm pretty sure he just loses here. Because, like, I can put my Shiraha back out, and he'll lose field. Which is exactly what happened. So, like, he anti-changed the Shiraha that had an attack jet, and then I dug, like, right into standby with the twin drive, and, like, had my board after that turn. And he was on 1 card, which, like, kept him from basically, like, doing the whole heel looping thing. Mm-hmm. He was able to, like, set up some riders. Like playing like he was like forced to crash and everything, but he still was able to set up some riders. He got 1 rider off, but I was able to like side over it with a wind and the eye to like swing for 1, so like I didn't really like lose too much that turn. Set a like really good deck for him to swing into on the last turn when I was at like 3-2 or so, and I triple canceled off the top and then swung back for exact lethal, and that was game. It really was kind of decided off that turn where he went down to 1 card, and he was really banking on that clock on core to like sort of refill his field at the cost of like his health, which doesn't really matter because like 8 Bar Fate can just heal like crazy after they get to 3. But because the Shiraha was there and I was holding backup, which he saw me salvage, he couldn't really do much to like contest that board at all, and it like just really bled him out the rest of the game. And Twin Drive or Icy Tail did win me that game by getting me some good damage at the end there, because like he was at 4 cards after attacks, or he was at 3 cards in deck after attacks, The last one he triggered was a bar, so it was a 25% chance that he had triggered the last bar in his deck because he was only on one card, I believe, in hand. So I took the 75% chance that it's still there. It's there. It's like 1 refresh point for 1, and then like set him up to 3-5. He clocks, and then I crack back and win. So
Nice.
but yeah, that was like a really good game. Like big GGs to him. That was like a really good way to go out. Like that was like the most fun game I played all day. Was finals. So that was really cool. Super stressful, but like a really fun game.
Yeah, that game sounds so wild. I saw there was some JP
Yeah.
post on Twitter talking about that game also, and I was reading it before, and I was just like, this sounds ridiculous. But yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
lots
man.
of crazy stuff going on. So, but yeah, it was really fun. It was a really crazy experience. Like again, this was my second JP event ever. So
You got the true Cinderella story. Start
Yeah.
Weiss, like what you started Weiss a year ago or something ago, you said, right?
yeah, so I started the 2018 BCS Shop Challenge season. So that around that time, I showed up to my first local. Shout out to my guys at Heroes Inc. Showed up to my first local. It was a shop challenge because I saw the Facebook event was like boosted or whatever. So I saw it. I showed up with like Coterie Waifu without the like the time machine backups because like I didn't understand what they did. I went like 1-2 or like 1-3, I think. And yeah, after that it was over. Like I just played Weiss like every day for like the rest of that year. But yeah, I hadn't been playing very long. I say that like I don't play JP or anything, but I do follow JP. I'm like very into the game, like read a lot of stuff, like watch a lot of stuff. I do keep up with the meta as best I can, but like I don't have a lot of first-hand experience. A lot of like reads on what like I knew and what I expected to be good. And like the reason I was so afraid of 8-Bar Fate is because I was looking at Fate since it's coming to English. I'm gonna expect to see it, and I was like, oh, so like JP has this crazy heal event. That's gonna be something to watch out for. And that was a big reason I was so afraid of it.
Yeah,
But
man.
yeah.
Congratulations, though. That's crazy. Just 1 year ago, starting off, baby Carmen, learning what cards do, and now here he is, wrecking everyone in NA.
Best player.
I do really love the game. So like
Yeah, it's good.
before I played Weiss, like I played a lot of so like my first, this is gonna sound terrible. My first like card game experience really was like Hearthstone. And I think a lot of that, like the way and I played like in Tespa and stuff in college. For that.
Oh, yeah. So you're used to like manipulating RNG into your favor, right? Which is like a really big thing in this game. Yeah.
That's a big thing I was gonna say is like a lot of people I think come into Weiss from Magic and stuff or Yu-Gi-Oh, and they're like, oh, like this damage mechanic, this is bullshit. And I'm just like, no, this is just like manipulating RNG heavily in your favor to the point where it's so in your favor that it's actually guaranteed. And I think that's the coolest part about the game, that it's so like deceptively skill intensive.
Yeah, I agree. That's like one of the big things about the game. Like, whenever I introduce this game to other people, I always ask if they've ever played deck building games before, because I always feel like they're very similar in the sense of where you're building a deck as you're playing, and then you're trying to manipulate it to like just make it better and better. And the same thing here. But yeah, that's really cool. I'm glad you're part of this community because it's okay. So like before, like when you came up to us when Nico and I were just chilling, and we're like, "Oh shit, you're in the finals!" And then I was talking to Nico. I was like, "You know what? I've never actually seen this guy play Weiss before. I don't even know how good he is, but he's in the finals."
Yeah, that's kind of like the response I expect, right?
Yeah.
Like no one knows who I am. Like if they do know who we are, like the Pittsburgh group, it's from our like YouTube channel where like we've kind of like been sort of known for like being these like guys who don't take it too seriously and kind of like fight about cards, and a lot of people don't like agree with our evaluations and stuff like that. But you know, it's good to like get something on the map. Shows like we're not like too insane. Like we're nuts, but we're not that crazy, right?
Yeah, because I don't. You guys don't ever upload match videos, right? Because I do watch your stuff, but like I don't think I've ever seen you guys really upload videos like that, right?
We don't have a lot out there, and a lot of that has to do with our camera situation. I've recently upgraded to a better situation, and we're going to try to get some match commentary and stuff going with more of our players that you probably haven't heard talk yet from our channel. We have a lot of we have a lot of people who I'd consider very good pilots in our community. And like playing so often, like I said, like playing 4 or 5 times a week. Like I kind of took like I have a history in the Smash community and stuff like that, and like I kind of took that same sort of approach where like I really like this game, I want to get better, I need to play it, I need to live and breathe it, basically the way like FGC players really approach the game.
That's you guys actually have a pretty unique situation because a lot of places don't have the ability to like play as often as you said you do. You said 4 times a week, right?
Yeah, we have 2 official events. Sometimes we have 2 official guaranteed events every week with $5 entry, and then we have one time where it's either casuals or a $5 entry tournament, depending on what people want to do, and then one day where it's just like running back and forth, like intense friendlies, basically, where like all the people who are showing up to play want to improve. So the people who are there, people running and stuff they're trying to do, they're like making changes in between games to their list to try to improve it, stuff like that. So like we 4 guaranteed days a week, sometimes 5. We're playing, and it's all English format, right? So
that's the weird part. But other than that, like that's a really healthy community you guys have going on.
Yeah, it's like that's one thing I think that we have that we can really be proud of. It's like that we really have a lot of people who want to be good and want to travel and want to like play and just want to play as much as they can. Like that's the like environment that I had to sort of like improve and like sort of push myself to like kind of learn as much as I can about this game and keep moving forward. And it's like it was like really crazy to see it pay off coming in Nats, because especially from Toronto the previous weekend. I feel like I had learned a lot because I went there for English regionals, and I got like 13th. Went like 5-2 with Sunshine. I learned a lot about like tuning a deck list for a long event, that event specifically, and that drove a lot of like my changes, like cutting one-ofs, things like that, like being as consistent as possible.
This guy trying to be consistent? Like just be like me, man. Just be like, screw it. I only need 13 zeros. I need all I gotta do is top check a level 3 more often than my opponent attacks.
You're gonna hate what I'm gonna say, kid. I ran 13 zeros.
No, you went 5-2 as expected.
I went 5-2, yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, like a lot of that went into like building for like Nats, I guess, where you see like I'm running stuff like 3 drop searchers, like, and I guess that's sort of common in a lot of summer pocket builds, but like it's sort of like the consistency, it lets you screw up like running a lot of search like that, like running 4 brainstormers, 4 surveils, things like that. Just like tuning your list to like win that many times over the course of like a 14-hour day. It's like such a grind.
Yeah, it's about moving up your floor, right? Not your ceiling.
Yeah, it's like so, and I think like summer pockets especially, like all these decks that people call high roll, right? Like whether it's like English Love Live Sunshine or like high roll or like summer pockets or like all these other decks where it's like X standby or like all sorts of other crazy high roll things, is you're looking to bring up the floor and lower the ceiling, but you're hitting the ceiling more often, and the floor, you're raising the floor. So that the floor and the ceiling, there isn't as much distance.
Yeah.
So that you can every game pull that off.
Yeah.
As opposed to like
heavily agree with that. Like we always have this weird. I mean, Dean understands, and I think Nico also understands too. We always have this weird divide in Discord whenever one of us is well, actually Nico never talks, but when Dean and I are arguing with other people, there are a lot of people in the community that are more engrossed into the idea of having a really, really high ceiling, whereas Dean, Nico, and I are more about like, hey, we want a really high floor with a decently high ceiling, and then that will get us there in these long events all the time, guaranteed. Whereas like people really love like these crazy, like, I'm gonna kill my opponent from 2-4 because that's what my deck can do, and you know.
Yeah, I've really noticed that a lot watching people talk in the Discords, like the card, like obviously the competitive Discord, the card games Discord, stuff like that. People really push for like valuing these like absurdly high ceiling decks
because it's disgusting to sit across from, because you just randomly lose.
Yeah.
they managed to get the high roll.
Yeah, because that's how Weiss is, right? Like we've all had those games where it's just like what you're like 8 and like 24, and then you eat 9 off the top and die. It's just like we've all had those games, right? Like
Those are the best feelings.
yeah, it's like it's just like you feel robbed, you feel terrible, and
Just feel like you've won the lottery. It's just not a good lottery.
yeah, it's like that's just the game, and I think a big thing that I carried over into this, like, okay, so like learning from playing stuff like Hearthstone and like having like, especially coming from competitive Melee, where like literally for your first 4 years of the game, you just like eat garbage forever and like go O2, and like on top of that, while I was going O2, I was also like running tournaments, streaming tournaments, stuff like that. So like you kind of like really get a thick skin for like, oh, I like ate shit that game, whatever. Rally it. Let's just keep going. Like I think that carried over a lot. Just sort of that mentality carry you through a long event.
No, yeah, it's really good that you got like that mentality going and like the drive to become good at the game, because I think a lot of people have trouble like spending the time to get good, and they're more easily would rather blame luck than their own skill, which I think is a mistake. Like you never want to do that if you're trying to get better, right? So
yeah, like I think something I heard Dean, actually something you said, it's just like always be salty. So, yeah, it's like always be salty to the point where you can pick apart your own play, and I think that's really important to remember. Like, don't be salty to the point where like you're like blaming your opponent, and you're being mad at them. Be mad at yourself. Like, pick yourself up, like pick your own play apart, like stuff like that. Like, I should preface this.
Hold on, did you hear this from Dean? Did you hear this from Dean?
We are big Dean fans in Pittsburgh. I swear you said this on a video. It's like always be salty and pick your plays apart. Yeah.
I did. Because usually, like in my like post game salt, I'm just sitting there running through like the final turns like over and over again in my mind. At locals, it's a little different.
We're all a little different at locals. That's fine.
local Dean and regional Dean are the most two funniest people I know. Oh man.
But yeah, Pittsburgh, we're big Dean fans. We're a big subscriber to the one of Kokoro Stocksoul.
Oh no!
And all those spicy
Kit's.
things. We love it.
Yeah, that was Kit's idea, actually.
Was that Kit's idea?
Kit put it in there, and I said sure.
We're just like, oh, I remember. What was it? You said all the things you said. It's just like, oh, it's like Kokoro 1.0 is the best combo in Bang Dream. We're all like, yes, we love it. And then you're like, Persona 5, best said in English. Yes, we agree. We've been saying it forever. Like stuff like that. It's just very funny.
Dude, P5's gonna win Worlds again. I
hope. We can only hope.
Oh man, spooky. Oh, this is like little Dean cold out there. I don't know if I can live like this.
Soon when we go to New York, it's only gonna be Arisa walls every matchup.
No.
Oh god.
Oh man. Okay, we're getting a little off topic here. Let's go back. So I mean, we talked about this a little bit before we started doing the recording, but like your plans for Japan. So I guess as far as that goes, are you still going to be on Summer Pockets, or are you maybe looking at maybe investing in another deck, or are you just going to be like, screw it, Summer Pockets it is, because I already know how to pilot it so well?
So yeah, so it's like Summer Pockets I'm extremely comfortable with. I do think so. Like the big thing, I wanted to mention this while we were going over sort of like my rounds. I think Wind standby as like a climax lineup is very well positioned. Not only in our like sort of JP Western meta, but also like the actual JP meta. I think that being able to high roll both ways, like high roll in the way that you remove your opponent's field and gain advantage, and also stand buying out big targets, even if Summer Pockets aren't as big and threatening as some other things that are hitting the board, is very good. And that's a big thing to consider. And if I am going to bring Summer Pockets to Worlds, since it's a like, smaller event, like comparatively, I would probably cut the Ozuses from my list and run like 4 Crepe Shiroha, 2 Kamome Tutor, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just to sort of like capitalize on that that sort of lineup, because I think that lineup's very strong. If I was going to play something else, I think that I would just go for, I've been seeing these reveals for like Slime and Memory Snow. I think I would build like maybe a Memory Snow hate deck that ran like 4 of the new Rem, 4 of the Ram anti-ping, and just sort of like went for good stuffs outside of that. Or like Slime looks like really good and non-interactive. Like just something that I only have to care about what I'm doing for the most part, I think would be good. And both those sets seem kind of okay. Like one because it hates so hard on what they're doing, and one because it's like so far from what we've seen on reveals, very good in its own like sort of fishbowl-y kind of way, like a fishbowl-y kind of deck that I don't have to worry about my opponent as much. But yeah, I think that's like my only real thoughts on that, honestly.
So you don't.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So you don't think like Saikano and does Saikano play the standby hate stuff?
It does some on some lists. I don't think it's that good, but yeah.
And you don't think with like Memory Snow coming out that like maybe like standby isn't like the most favorite thing to be playing?
So interestingly enough, the Memory Snow standby hate, and correct me if I'm wrong, the Saikano hate, those hit when a character comes from waiting room, correct? Like
the Memory Snow
Saikano's
one does.
an event.
Saikano has an event that just straight up kills a higher level player, or not player. Holy crap, character.
No, that'd be
Yeah, you just take a gun out and shoot your opponent, and you win the game.
It's over.
It's like playing EOT, right?
You're right. You target one of your opponent's characters that's higher than their level, and then they have to swap. Or actually, I don't even think they have to be higher than your level. You just target it, and they have to swap it with a character that's lower level than that character from their waiting room.
Okay. Even so, the fact that your main mid game relies on Shiroha, and Shiroha is just like, I feel like those 2-1s. I mean, from the first time I saw it in that Board Savers blog post, in that board and blog post, I thought it's just like, summoning a 2-1, like that's broken. Like, how do you hate on that other than getting the 2 first, like playing a bomb or like playing Shaken or something?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like that's just really strong, especially because it's on wind. But like, you do bring up a good point, and that's a main reason. Like, I am considering other sets, but it would be something new that would be fairly uninteractive, just sort of based on like what I'd expect to be playing against. I know they're like super heavy into standby and all sorts of crazy stuff like Albuta. So like crazily enough at Nats, I didn't play against any Albuta. I didn't play against any Saikano, like despite the entry amounts for both those decks, which you can see on Heart of the Cards. I think it was like 9 Saikano, and like dodged all of it. Like didn't play against it once.
Oh, they have the numbers out for that event already?
Yeah, they're at the bottom. They were added after the fact at the bottom of the interviews page. They are out there. But yeah, like I'm just, again, it's just like the unfamiliarity is hitting me. Like Slime does look sick. Like I kind of want to play Slime just because of how cool it looks. And it also has like standby hate in that 1/1, the back row.
Mm-hmm.
That looks pretty cool. So yeah, I really don't know. I'm gonna have research. There's a lot of things to research. I mean, you brought up plans for Japan. Like, this is my first time going to Japan, so there's a lot of research involved in that too. So there's a lot of things I have to prepare.
Yeah. All I know for sure is that we're gonna get fucking wasted one of the nights. So.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, one of the nights.
Yeah. Well, guaranteed one minimum. Okay, that's the minimum.
You haven't watched many of our videos. You haven't. Just like I'm lifting the veil, so all of our, if you didn't already realize, all of our like set review stuff, that's like me and Andy being like beyond drunk fighting back cards. And like I think that's kind of like what we've cultivated as our brand. It's like we kind of don't take it as seriously. We want to make fun content because Weiss is a fun game, and we want to kind of, share that sort of side to it. And like that's kind of how Pittsburgh has been in like all of its sort of competitive communities. Is like we're kind of loud, like we're very passionate, and like we like to have fun. So it's kind of how it is for us. But
Dang. Yeah, so I'm looking at the set breakdown right now. 9 Saikano, dang, that's so much. Only 5 Goblin Slayer? Wait, how many Abuta was there?
There was 5.
5 Abuta?
Yeah.
I was really surprised to see less review. Looking at those spoilers and looking at the set when it came out, I was really surprised when like there were only like what I think it was 4.
It's 4, yeah. So it's me, Nico,
and Kit,
Sam,
yeah.
and some other random person. I think the biggest issue was like literally it came out that Friday, and luckily for me, I get cards in like a week before release date. No one should know this, but shh. Anyway, and then so that gave me and Nico an entire week to playtest the set, and we did so many different builds leading up to Nats because we're like, screw it, we're either gonna play Review or we're gonna default to our other boring sets, Konosuba and a Goblin Slayer. And then we found the build we did come up with, and we just stuck with that.
I really hope that set comes to English.
Oh, it has to. It's a property owned by Bushiroad. It'd be really crazy for them not to release it.
We've really pushed. So like when we're talking about our local scene, we've really pushed stuff like Review and Bang Dream and stuff like that to our new players because of the Bushiroad support and like what we expect to see, stuff like that. Because we're only English, right? We're like banking on stuff that only English will get. Like especially like one of our big shops is a comic shop, so like we got so many players from Batman Ninja. It was like a pretty decent influx.
I'm sorry for all
like
of them.
3 or 4 new players. Yeah. It was crazy when they showed up and we're like, oh, it was like how they would always ask us like, well, how really is this set? And we'd be like, oh, well, like if you go to this convention and you get this demo deck, then it's broken for your first game that you play against someone, and then they'll side it forever. But yeah.
I mean, this set's not too bad. It's definitely not going to be like winning national or like winning like a regional tournament anytime soon. But
Reverse now is pretty strong. Like
Let's wait for teams. I'll make sure Batman wins.
I'm just look. The only reason you play Batman is to play barrels.
Pittsburgh believes in you, Dean. If that's one thing that you should know, Pittsburgh believes in you to do.
I'm not playing Batman.
Dean will play Disgaea at a regional, but won't play Batman. All right.
Yeah, I will.
Oh man. Okay. Well, we'll move into our last topic here. I figured since this was released recently, let me switch over here. I guess you guys can't see it, but they finally released the first choice combo. That's gonna be. I guess this has to be the first set printed with choice, right? Bang Dream, the new Bang Dream set in JP.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like so far.
Okay, yeah. So I'm just interested in everyone's thoughts on it. I'll go through the effects really quick. So this 3/2 Kokoro, it's when this card attacks, you can pick a yellow card from your waiting room and pick a yellow card from your waiting room and put it on top of your deck. So basically, you have control of what you trigger at this point, as long as it's a yellow card. Climax combo with the choice climax, you discard 2 and send this card to waiting room. When this attack is over, and if you have the climax in the climax zone, you can play the cost. If you do, you look at your stock for another Hello Happy World character that isn't this level 3 Kokoro, and then you put it into where this slot was, and then you shuffle your stock. So basically, it's like a restand that you can set up to always guarantee to have this other 3/2 Michelle card, which is if it has a marker, gains 7k power, so it's 11/5 base with the marker. It has the pay 1 at your opponent's start of your opponent's attack phase to stand it and another Hello Happy World character and swap them around. And then the other effect is when it comes into play or through the auto effect of the Kokoro, you can heal 1 to the waiting room. Wait, is that right? Yeah, heal 1 to the waiting room and then pick a card with Kokoro in the name and put it underneath as a marker. So that's how it gets all the power and stuff like that. And then obviously the climax is choice. So what are your guys' thoughts on it? I guess...
Good.
Well, all right, Dean. We already know, but we'll start with Carmen since he's here as a guest. What are your thoughts?
What was the cost again? Like the cost that has to be paid on reverse? It's on reverse, right?
No. It's when the attack is over, so it can be reversed or whatever.
Attack. Okay.
Yeah. So it's discard 2 cards from your hand and then send the level 3 Kokoro to the waiting room, and essentially it's a double striker.
Yeah. So the fact that for no additional stock overhead, you're attacking twice is really good. That's really crazy, especially when you're pushing for game. I think the most interesting part of the card is the fact that if you want to set up nasty side attacks for exact lethal, yellow is incentivized to run a lot of stock souls and double soul triggers, and it says you can put yellow card, right?
Yeah.
So you can put yellow climaxes from your waiting room on top of your deck.
Yep,
and
you can.
ensure like unbelievably nasty sides. I really like that sort of like precise, like, that ability to have like very precise soul modulation on your end game turn. I think that on its own is really strong. I mean, it goes without saying that stockless. Well, I guess technically one stock, right? You rip the card out of your stock.
Mm-hmm.
But like one stock and 2 cards to perform a restand is very crazy. That's like a very good combo.
Yeah, it's really hard to whiff too. So like Eris is such a good card, but it can whiff and stuff like that for the cost. So
yeah, that's true. I've whiffed many an Eris in my Magic.
So
build.
have I.
I was a big proponent, just like you, of the 2 of Eris tech.
Oh yeah,
big fan of that. Yeah, so.
Unfortunately, I cut it in the JP list recently. Very sad, but yeah. I agree that modular damage output is always really good. What do you think, Nico?
It's all right. I don't know if it's going to be the go-to like end game combo, but like from what was revealed, it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
I don't know if it, like I said, I don't know if it's going to top Mocha for Japan, or like this the deck's still running like Yukino or the set 1 and set 2 Kasumi, but it's interesting. I think it's got a lot of potential, and Carmen already covered a lot of it. The fact that you can get precise soul damage is really, really good.
Yeah.
The choice trigger is also pretty interesting. So that way, if you're running mono yellow, when you trigger a climax, you can actually somewhat keep hand. So that's always nice.
Yeah, and then also, I mean, it can guarantee to put the 3/2 Michelles into your stock too, so you can like trigger other stuff instead of forcing yourself to trigger a soul to get Michelle into the stock.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be really, really interesting. Look, if this comes out in English and we still have no ban list in English, you know how deadly this will be with stock swap and Orisa reshuffler.
That's a lot of resources.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's a lot of resources you just mentioned.
look, I'll get
Because
there.
Coker
somehow.
doesn't dig.
What
Does it?
camp are you guys in for the choice trigger? Are you guys in this like sort of it's really good camp?
So
Camp?
this fixed my big problem with it, which was I thought the big problem with it was you don't run enough level 3s, you don't run enough soul triggers, and you don't want to be stocking them. Being able to stock them as shell and then like not even care, just like randomly get to level 3 and be like, oh well, it turns out there's 4 of them in my stock. I think that's really powerful. So as long as they have like this synergy that's like nice, where you're not just like forced to run soul triggers for the sake of running soul triggers, I think it's good. But like it could very easily literally be worse than Bag.
Don't diss on Bag. We love Bag in Pittsburgh.
Bag is dank, but I'm saying like you can be worse than Bag if like the support doesn't line up. Like if it was just like this was like on just like a random card.
I think it's interesting that it has like this great like, okay, you either get to stock or you get to add to hand, but it has like an even worse condition of like whiffing than like gate or pants or whatever, because like, okay, that's like the last card of your deck, right? But this can be like, you can trigger this at any point in the game and be out if like things went that poorly for
even
you.
then it's like what you're getting is like garbage. Like you're either stocking away a card you need later or you're grabbing a card you can't play, and then you're like, well, this sucks either way, right?
I do think the coolest thing about like the choice trigger itself is playing a lot of Love Live Sunshine with stock soul, like hiding combo pieces in your stock, things that need to be in your waiting room, because your stock you hold over refresh. It's like something you can easily manipulate. Having like a option that's not stock soul, so it is a plussing trigger, or you can hide something in your stock. I think that's really cool. Just like another option, right? Just like that's sort of like a fringe case, but I do think that's very cool.
You guys with your small brains not thinking about twin driving this and then getting 4 stock. No, but yeah.
Twin drive is crazy. Like, this is crazy with twin drive, though.
Yeah. All right, real talk. I'm saying it here right now so everyone knows for the future. Twin drive is the most broken effect they've printed recently. I believe it.
Hey, I just wanted
recently?
It, so.
Yeah, sure.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Every Gatai I think is pretty ridiculous.
But all right, yeah, so yeah, I'm in the camp that's like I think the choice trigger is going to become too good. Like right now I think it's since there's nothing we're seeing except for this, like no one has no real idea of how to like evaluate it really other than like the trigger itself. And I was already like a lot of my deck builds already have like a really high trigger count. So like this kind of just like works out for me in this case here. I think this trigger is like really good, and then if they're not very careful, it'll be broken like sooner than later. If they get like really crazy with the way they're pushing standby and then do the same thing to choice, then it's definitely going to be broken. But yeah.
Well, they're hating on standby now, right?
Yeah,
that's because they pushed it a little too hard.
Your opponent puts a card in stock during their battle phase. Some demerit.
Oh man.
Is that how you hit choice?
I think it's wild that their hate that they print on standby is so like universally good outside of that too. Like the Memory Snow one is just a self-tap search brainstorm. Like a card that you would want to play anyway that sits in your back row. That's like really strong.
Was it self-tap? I thought it was tap 2, but I could be wrong.
I thought it was tap 2.
Yeah, I could be wrong there. It's like a card that you wouldn't feel bad about playing.
Yeah,
anyway.
One of the issues with that, like a lot of people brought up, is like the fact that it interacts with other things that aren't standby, like Encore. Like if you Encore in the wrong order, your entire field could die again.
Yeah,
I think
that's
funny.
wild.
It
is funny. Yeah, that is hilarious.
I think it's fine. I think more hate cards is fine.
I don't mind the hate cards. It's just that it's really weird when you print these really good hate cards and then like it just hits other things for no reason. All right, I guess we're done here. Any last words about choice or anything?
That's okay. Pretty okay out of 10.
It's gonna top if it's out in time for teams.
Oh, because you're gonna be in every event with it, right, Dean?
Yeah, I'm
easy.
Hello Happy World.
Sorry, Nico, you're off. Oh no, you're in Goblin Slayer, so it's fine. Dean's on Hello Happy World.
It's okay.
I think I'm gonna bring fake coin flip.
Yes, I'll see you there, brother. Can't
No
wait.
level
We need to
ones.
parry against each other. Both this time not standby. 2 soul, turn 1, triple. What's his name?
Shiro.
Yeah, triple Shiro, turn 1. I'm like, fuck it, we're going in. either I win or you win. That's how it works here. Did you eat this 12 damage? Darn, I guess you win this game. Oh man. Yeah, I guess any shout outs here? I guess Carmen, anything good?
Yeah, so I just want to give a shout out to like all my players back at Pittsburgh, so like all my people back at like Heroes Inc. and Top Deck Cards and Games. Without you guys, I like wouldn't be here talking today, so it's like basically all doing thanks to you guys. Thank you like so much, like like putting up with me wanting to play like so many times a week, just like constantly hammering at it. Just like I can't thank you all enough. So thanks. That's gotta throw that out there. So
all right, and then in the the more info section below or whatever, I'll include a link to their YouTube channel. But do you want to go ahead and shout out your YouTube channel too? How to find you?
Yeah, so our YouTube channel is PGH Weiss Schwarz. We do a lot of deck techs. We put out a deck tech like every week, every Friday. We put one out. That's sort of like our goal. We're gonna start doing more match commentary. And also I'm gonna have a deck tech up, like a deck profile for like what I took to Nats and like sort of like a more in-depth like why I played what I played. I don't want to like rip off Peng, but I was inspired by sort of his deck tech, like sort of something more in-depth. I do want to get something out there for that. Sort of like sort of defend myself as someone who's only been playing for a year. Just like, oh, I didn't just sack, guys. I'm not super terrible at this game. Just sort of defend myself as best I can. So look forward to that. We'll try to have that out there as quickly as we can. So.
Okay, and is there any other social media stuff that people can find you at, like Twitter or something?
Mostly just our YouTube channel.
Just YouTube?
Is our big thing
All right.
now, yeah.
Yep, so everyone, if you've made it this far in the video, you have to go and subscribe to their channel. It's like a requirement. All right. Nico and Teen, any last words on anything?
I got nothing. Congratulations again, dude. I think it's well deserved.
Yep, congratulations. Have fun. Not knowing what anyone's cards are at Worlds this year.
Hey, they said they're good. Luke said he's giving me a translator, so I'm gonna make full use of that.
Okay, so I guess really quick, I wonder if they're gonna give your matches extra time or not. I feel like they won't, because in Worlds they're really, really strict, and they will like double game loss you. Like last year, June got a double game loss because his opponent was sitting there like jerking himself off because he knew he was gonna lose. And so they both got a double game loss in a bracketed. And I don't know if they changed the format, but it's a bracketed format. So once you lost, you're out of the tournament completely, because it's Japan, best of one, just like fighting games. They love best of one. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you make it to finals, have fun, because finals is best of 5.
Oh, best of 5. Weiss, how long am I gonna be up there?
You're gonna be there for a very long time.
Oh man.
Yep.
But.
Yeah, congratulations again, though. Good luck. I believe in you too. Just reach out to the community or anyone if you need help in JP.
Get some America pants.
Yeah.
Get some like USA.
Yeah.
Pants.
Get some USA pants. USA bandana.
No.
Bandit Keith.
Do you one better? Right. USA breakaway pants.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Let's go.
Yeah, you got to rep America. You got to let them know.
Man.
Yeah. I'll decked out. Don't you worry. Well, I got to have the Maryland shirt, right?
Yeah.
That's the power up shirt.
All right, we're holding you to it. I'm gonna bring my camera when we're there for English side, and we're gonna find you. It's gonna be
good. Sounds good.
I guess with that, guys, we'll see you guys in the next video later.
See ya.
Before you go, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel if you do enjoy our content, as it does help us grow, and check out some of these social media links below.